Welcome to my favorite subject, social engineering. We are going to talk about what social engineering is, why it works, how to defend against it, and see some tools and software that have been developed for the ethical hacker. There is a lot of fun stuff in this module, so let's get started. We are going to be talking about what social engineering is. Social engineering is the method of persuading, tricking, conning, or otherwise getting your target to reveal sensitive information. So you're going to be getting them to do something that is, not really going to be in their best interest, but they are going to be happily helping you along the way. And so there are a lot of people who actually use this quite often in a lot of their different tactics for hacking. Attackers will often find that social engineering is far easier than trying to crack a firewall or a network security appliance. And generally the rule of thumb is for most ethical hackers and cybersecurity experts is the people are the weakest link in the chain. If a company has not trained their staff in social engineering techniques, then they're just asking to be on the front page of the New York Times as the latest data breach victim. The only real way to mitigate social engineering attacks is to train your employees. And the worst part about social engineering attacks is that most people aren't even aware that there even was one. Otherwise, they would have said something or done something in the midst of being socially engineered. While they're on that phone call giving up information to somebody, they would have raised a flag and said, okay, this was not okay. As soon as they hang up, they just go about their day like they were helpful. They did their job. Everything was fine. Social engineering works because it targets people's built-in behaviors and tendencies. A sense of obligation, for example. Attackers will take advantage of people in this way, knowing they feel like they have to do their job. They need to do their job correctly. Another big one is trust. People want to trust others. People are usually going to trust people when they know the correct vocabulary and the correct terminology. If someone just gets fired and they're disgruntled, they would be able to wreak havoc. And I'm pretty sure there's some pretty big examples of this, and I'm going to pull some of these examples up later to show you how these kinds of things worked and how companies just got totally screwed because they weren't properly defending themselves against social engineering attacks. If you see someone dressed in a certain way, you're going to instinctively trust them. The US military, when you approach any one of their bases in uniform, still ask for your ID because they know these kinds of social engineering attacks could work. Even if you're dressed as a lieutenant colonel and you outrank the person at the gate has to see their ID or they won't let him in. Otherwise, anybody can go and order a uniform. They can order all the different things that go along with the uniform, get the appropriate car, get fake plates. But if they don't have that ID and that ID doesn't pass, they're not getting in. Another reason this works is there are insufficient security policies on how information can get communicated or what to do when someone calls in and asks for information or emails and asks for information. Social engineers prey on people not having the correct training, and the biggest weakness in people is usually ignorance. People just don't know that someone could be calling in or sending them an email and they don't have their best interests at heart. Social engineering at its nature is hard to detect via technology because it's anti-technology. It's going against all of the different safeguards and controls that you've put in and is going after the human element. And humans, we make a lot of mistakes, especially when we think we're doing a good job. A regular attack against an intrusion detection system, a firewall, or any sort of technology-based asset is going to have a log file or some sort of detection log. People don't. People aren't recording all of their different phone calls and then sending those phone calls back up to their manager to have an assessment actually done. People can spoof caller IDs. There's so many different ways that a social engineer can actually make this stuff work. And it makes it very, very hard to detect, which is why it's still a very, very big problem.